Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Lots of stuff going on, folks. It's just building and constantly moving the whole world, and really most importantly the United States, towards some type of global conflict. And when I say the United States, I don't mean it because we're the most important, because that's where most of my listener base is. I mean that because virtually every one of these global conflicts that are starting to play out, we're right in the middle of them. You don't see Germany right in the middle of them. You don't see Japan right in the middle of them. You're not even seeing Russia right in the middle of them. It's always us. We are the only country, only one on the planet that's right in the middle of all this stuff. Sure, it's for a purpose. The news, they're talking about Russia and Iran working on some secret arms agreement that would include the transfer of uranium nuclear material to Iran to help them build nuclear weapons. Also would include weapons to Iran that Russia is selling to Iran for whatever reason. And the point is they keep hearing all this talk in American media that Russia is desperately needing help when it comes to weapons, that they're trying to broker deals with China, and we're hearing this back and forth. China will help, China won't. CIA, our intelligence says that they have good intelligence, that the Chinese is going to help. Saw that the German chancellor yesterday said that he had it on good word that China is not going to be sending any weapons to Russia. They're just not going to do it. Which is the same thing he said a year ago or so when he said that he had it on good word that Putin was not going to invade Ukraine. That was just days ahead of the invasion of Ukraine. But anyways, the point is, so we're seeing this spinning in our news that Russia is desperately in need of weapons assistance. And yet they're turning around and they're selling and giving stuff away to Iran. If they were in such a hard place when it came to the amount of weapons they have, why would they be helping any other country out? We have to remember that Russia is the number 2, number 3, somewhere right in there, weapons producer on the planet. And if you just look at the sheer numbers, actual numbers of what's been done in Ukraine so far compared to what's believed that they have, it's really a tiny little percentage, and that's not including what they're continually producing. And honestly, through all this, at least according to the Russians, and it looks to be pretty accurate, that Russia's done actually pretty good economically. They're selling lots and lots of their oil and gas and things like that. American media is trying to paint this picture that the whole world is against Russia. The whole world has sanctioned Russia. It's not hardly a third of the world, at least just in numbers of nations. Most of Europe and North America and Australia and Japan. That's it. The whole rest of the world is buying up their stuff like crazy. And Russia's making lots of money from them and getting all kinds of stuff, raw materials to make weapons. So there's probably a lot of little psyops going on there as to whether or not Russia actually can hold their own when it comes to manufacturing. Other things, Taiwan, China, heating up. United States is sending millions of dollars in weapons over there, doing all kinds of joint drills. We're seeing Taiwan, excuse me, do more training, preparing themselves for an invasion of China from China. And China is getting more comfortable flying over in or near Taiwan airspace. The same way with North and South Korea in the United States. North Korea keeps telling the United States, hey, you need to stop all this training and planning and working all around us because we know you're planning to invade us and eventually we're going to retaliate. And the United States and South Korea's response is, well, let's do even more training. Send up spy planes and B-52 bombers and all that kind of stuff. And North Korea may be one of the more erratic of all of them. I would guess that Kim Jong-un or whatever would push the button a lot faster than Putin would. And so we're just poking that one around. All this stuff is happening. We're seeing inflation tick back up. We're seeing just the whole economy. It's not drastic big numbers, but when you look at everything, it's not looking good at all, looking much worse. Housing market seems to be just about ready to kind of bottom out. Auto car market, kind of the same thing. All this is happening, and all this is really important. And I know this is, I've been talking for like 6 minutes here. It's all really important, but I'm telling you folks, there is something that's more important than that. And I talk about this all the time. Some of you are totally on board with it, get it, and agree with me. And other ones, it's like, all right, he's talking about that weird religion Bible stuff, and I'm not into that. Well, that's fine, but it's my channel, and I'm going to talk about it anyways. Really, the worst thing that in my opinion, and there's lots of bad things going on, but in my opinion, the worst thing that we're seeing happen in our world today and in our civilization is that we are now openly and bragging and supporting and normalizing sacrificing children to Satan. And you're probably sitting there thinking, what? I didn't catch that one in the news. No, we are. I mean, we may not be physically laying them on the altar of Moloch and doing bad things, you know, to them on that altar, but we are. We are sacrificing their innocence to Moloch. I mean, that's what we're doing. Not maybe you and I, but this civilization, this society that we're in. It wasn't that just a few months ago, not a long time ago, months ago, that people started to getting really up in arms over drag queen shows with children in them. You remember back when that happened? That wasn't that long ago, folks. Just a few months ago, that there became this uproar. I mean, yeah, it was happening, but all of a sudden it started happening more. We started seeing people kind of protest outside of them. You know, people got upset. And now we're seeing certain states get laws passed or try to get laws passed to stop that. Tennessee's become the first state to outlaw it, that you cannot do the drag queen stuff in front of children. I'm sure there'll be pushback and they'll do it anyways, but we'll see. But there's several other states that are working on that. Point is, though, it's happening actually really often now. There's almost not a day that goes by that when I'm doing my research online that I don't see one or someone emails me or sends or tags me in it or something of it's horrible, of these transgender men dressed as women, very vulgar, doing things in front of children. It's horrible. Saw one yesterday. A little girl, probably 4 years old, I don't know. And at one of these events, and the men dressed as women had her up there dancing around, and people were giving her money. I mean, how did we go from just a few years ago, obviously not being a very godly nation, I get it, but to accepting this? It's like, I almost feel like we skipped a lot of steps. That all of a sudden now, this is amazing. You can watch these children. I mean, watch these parents. They just think it's great. I saw one, and it's getting to the point I can't hardly stand it. Not because it turns my stomach. Because it enrages me. I'm a father. And I think of the things that I would do, and they're not very good thoughts that I would do if something like this happened in front of my children. I watched one the other day. It was another little girl. It's like a birthday party. Extremely vulgar, barely dressed men doing their thing right in front of this little girl, dancing for her, basically giving her a lap dance. And she was like 4 or 5 years old. And behind her, there's all these dads. And they're like, oh, yay. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yay, yay. Oh, that's so good. What kind of sick freaks are they? This is YouTube, so I probably should rein it back in a little bit. But the things that I would do to someone like that, let's just say they'd be biblical. The point is that we've normalized this as a society. Now, I know you haven't, and I haven't. We are enraged by it. But folks, like it or not, you and I, we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, we may not be bowing down and worshiping at the altar of Moloch. We may not be participating in their lascivious, disgusting, satanic rituals and stealing the innocence of children, but we're living in it. No different than Lot. We're living in it. We're seeing it happen around us. I'm telling you, folks, this, in my opinion, is way worse than wars, than economic collapses, all of that. EMPs, nuclear wars, collapses, pandemics, those are uncertain. Most likely some of those things are going to happen, but they're uncertain. And they're also uncertain of how they will affect you. They may or may not affect you. If a nuke could go off on the other side of the world or the other side of the country, it may not be a direct effect to you. You may do all right. But this is affecting everyone. It's affecting everyone and everywhere. Many of you have children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews. You just have children that are under your influence. How many of them, that the families, you, their parents, the families, have truly built a wall around them? And I mean an impenetrable wall. How many of you have removed your children from schools and said, I don't care what it costs me. I don't care if we're going to have to live in poverty. I don't care if we have to sell our fancy cars and our home and our boats and our TVs and our jewelry and all the other fancy, nice things we have and live in some dumpy mobile home out in the sticks. I don't care, as long as I can raise my children free from this horrible, horrible world. Because it may have to come to that for some of you. You may have to make a decision similar to that. Are you allowing your child to be put on that altar and sacrificed? How much longer will we, you and I, and people like us, tolerate this kind of garbage in this country? I don't care how you live in your life and what you do in your bedroom. I could not care less. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me. That's between you and God. And I do believe that there are some things that are just wrong, okay? Absolutely wrong. But in the end, as long as it's between two consenting adults, I could not care less. I have no desires to pass laws to stop you from doing that, because I don't care. It doesn't affect me. This is different. This affects innocent children. This affects children in general, the innocence of it. You can't go anywhere. You can't go to a library. You can't take your children shopping. You can't do anything anymore without seeing some little bit. And they're so good at it. They're so good at the little psychological operations that they blend it in. And children, they don't even know it. They don't even get it. They don't understand that the TV show that they're watching, or the clothes that they're wearing, or the cereal that they're buying, or whatever, the imagery is conditioning them to accept that this is okay. I saw a post on Twitter. I don't know who it was, but it was someone that was professing to be a Christian and was talking about some particular video game. I don't play video games. We don't even have a video game machine, device, whatever, in our home. That's just not allowed. We don't do it. But anyways, some new video game, and I guess in the video game you're literally sacrificing at the altar of Moloch in the video game. And this person was saying that, Christians should stand up against this and not allow this. And I was shocked by I would guess at least 100 at the time that I read it, comments from people that were claiming also to be Christians and saying, this is not a big deal. We've been doing this in video games for years. We did this in Dungeons and Dragons, and they said that was bad, and we're fine. We did this in Skyrim, I guess. I've never played that one either. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's just a video game. People understand that it's not real. You're not really sacrificing to Moloch. You're not really worshiping Satan in the video games. It's just a video game. It's just fun for entertainment. It's okay. Comment after comment after comment from people claiming to be Christians. I understand many were trolls. Certainly not all. That's the problem. In name only. What is it that Yeshua said? Many of you will cry out, Lord, Lord, and I knew you're not. You'll do miracles in my name, meaning that actual miracles will happen. You'll do all these things in my name, and I knew you're not. Because he has no interest in some lukewarm, halfway on the fence, sort of in the gray area, 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in heaven. Not interested in that. And we've got a country, civilization now, where the vast majority of the people are so much into the world that they've pretty much been just living in the pits of hell and enjoying it. And you've got many, many, many of these Bible believers, quote unquote, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. We're living in Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, they're knocking at our doors, and they're not wanting the angels to come out and have relations with them. They're wanting your children, your little babies, little innocents. They want to take it from them. They want to take it from their minds. They want to take it from them physically. That's what we live in right now. And everyone just goes along like everything's normal. As long as I can watch my game. As long as I just go to work and come home and do my little hobbies and take my kids to the park and go fishing, and it's normal, right? No, it's not normal, people. It's not normal. It's becoming bigger, more pervasive, more in your face. It's every day. Every day it's growing at absolutely astonishing numbers. And the amount of adults, parents of children. We're not talking about these low-life pedo scum. We're talking about parents of children are okay with it. They're cheering it on. Yes, take my child. Oh, yeah, steal her innocence. Oh, it's great. I feel good now. Yay. I'm going to get lots of views on TikTok. It's sick and it's disgusting. And if you aren't doing something right now to build up a wall, whether it's moving, taking your kids out of school, I don't care what it is, cutting off relationships with people if you have to do that. There is nothing in the world I wouldn't do for my children. There's nothing too extreme to protect my children. And we've all probably said and thought that kind of stuff But right now it's coming to a test. You're gonna have to make that decision. Are you willing to do what you said you're gonna do? Are you willing to protect your children? Because all the wars, and all the economic stuff, and all the pandemics, and the disease, and everything, it's nothing compared to the absolute devouring our children openly, and openly doing it at the altar of Satan. Get your houses in order. Prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.